As that toll in Kogi boat mishap rises to 54, Governor Usman Ododo has called on relevant government agencies to put an end to frequent boat accidents in Kogi and Niger State. In a statement, the governor sympathized with victims of the accident that claimed the lives of some passengers were indigenous of Kogi State. Governor Ododo, who expressed sadness over the boat accident, said he was particularly concerned that most of the victims were women, petty traders, and artisans who are involved in legitimate business activities to earn a living and contribute to the economy of the state. The governor noted that the waterway linking Kogi and Niger State was becoming increasingly dangerous as a result of frequent boat accidents and called on relevant authorities to ensure that safety measures are put in place to minimize risks associated with water transportation in the country. Well, let's have this conversation with Arise News analyst Frank Tietie on the incessant accident on our waterways and if the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA, is living up to its responsibilities. Thank you so much for joining us. Very sad one, and of course this is not the first time the governor has expressed sadness over this. But what does this tell us about the safety conditions on our waterways?
I think it's very sad. I read this news first in the Associated Press, and then it was also reported widely across the world, and in the public broadcasting service in the United States also made it a topical point of discussion, together with the Voice of America. So it's an international, tragedy. But it doesn't seem to sink in here that we have, well, we don't know the exact number. It's what I've read. It's about 200 persons were crammed into a boat between Kogi State and Niger State, and it capsized. Your question is, what does it speak to the safety standards in the in terms of water transportation?
That's right.
Simply, it's in law we say reps issa loquitur. That is, the facts speak for themselves in the sense that you don't need any adumbration on this matter. Clearly, the safety marshals that were touted to have been put in place, that have been increased by the National Inland Waterways, were not there. It also means that those 200 persons who boarded that boat at that particular time, even though as we speak there is not much of an investigation that has gone, preliminary investigations that has happened for us to get the report, for the president to know what has actually happened. We don't know the capacity of that boat, and they were not actually wearing life jackets, because if they were wearing life jackets, we would have indeed seen some persons floating, So what happened is that some were recovered, dead, and then a number is still missing. What it tells us that we don't take life seriously in our country. Now, it's thrown this country into mourning, even though much of the population don't know much about what we're talking about now, because everybody is scrambling to survive. Yet the world is reeling in serious pain. Now, what it also tells us is this: the enforcement of safety procedures by the Nigerian Inland Waterways was actually missing. It meant that the NIWA officials just sit in Lagos and are not able to monitor what goes on in the waterways around in busy areas like Kogi and Niger State. But what is most painful today, very painful, is that in preparing for this show, I've taken time to run down on the activities of the Ministry of Maritime, Blue and Maritime Economy. I mean, Maritime and Blue Economy. And realized that the minister, former Governor Gboyega Oyetola, had actually gone to Kogi State with the governor, Usman Ododo, to launch the water transportation code that was meant to enhance safety, only in June this year. Now, which meant there was supposed to be active, rise in the consciousness to maintain safety in our waterways. To think this is happening, and because it's happening to just market women and traders, we have not declared a National Day of Mourning. The National Assembly has not been enraged enough, and our dear sister Natasha Akpoti from that area, who has been quite steeped in ensuring investigation of these matters, I expect will rise up to the occasion.
This is not the first time.
Yes.
Just to come in, permit me to butt in a bit. It's not the first time. I mean, the other time we heard it happen in Nigeria, well, over 200 people were also, affected as well. And this time is now Kogi State. Could it serve as a wake-up call to declare a national emergency on our waterways? Because if, like you said earlier, that the Minister of Maritime and Blue Economy, Mr. Agboyega Oyetola, launched a safety code in June. If that is so, then of course we should be seeing a reduction in Mishap across our waterways.
That's how it should be. But the reason it's not reducing is because there is a systemic failure problem in our country. Now, it's happened. This used to happen quite a lot. Okay, even in this year, a few months ago, it happened in Borno State. That in Borno State, where 24 people died as a result of a boat that capsized. In fact, 3 of such incidences have happened in Borno State recently. The reason that it will keep happening is that the mindset of public service does not go with the sense of consequences. If they had been, if the NIWA MD knew that, already I would say knows that there will be problem, there will be consequences if such a thing happens. If he will be held responsible vicariously, there would have been a lot of prevention. As we speak, somebody should be responsible for what happened. How did it come that all those many market women and farmers got into that crammed boat, 200 of them into that crammed boat, probably a wooden boat, and then nobody ensured that they were all wearing safety jackets or life jackets.